Harris, take it from here.
I just have a question about spirits. I think it got muddied up a little bit. My question is, so you said spirit is eternal. So does that mean before I was physically born, my spirit had always been around?
Okay, so we do believe that spirit is from God. Okay, so there's two parts, to create a life in a human being. We do believe as Muslims there is a part of the spirit which is from the responsibility of God. Okay, and there's another part which is the physical part. The physical part is the responsibility of the male and the female to procreate, to have sex, and to procreate. Okay, so but we do believe that the life starts when this spirit get inside the womb of the woman. Okay, it means at the day 40 after when I don't know how to word when the semen procreates the over.
Yeah, no, I got your point. Yeah. So you're basically saying, so the spirit basically starts from day 40. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, from day 40, and from that start life. So the spirit will give action to the physical side in the womb of the woman.
Okay? Brother, can I get a point of clarification? What do you mean by spirit? You mean by soul? Are you saying soul, spirit?
Yeah, I mean the soul. Yeah, spirit is the soul. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, soul.
So it starts from day 40. Before then, I didn't exist, right? So from day 40, somehow I magically appear in my mother's womb. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. From day
40. So when I die, when my brain stops working, what happens to my spirit? So then you're saying the spirit somehow lives on at that point, and then it becomes eternal.
Yes, it's eternal. When you die, it's like the spirit will get out of your physical body.
Okay, but it doesn't die. Okay, so it starts from the human body day 40, but then that's it. It's like a grand biggest jackpot of a lottery to win. That you started at day 40, but now you cannot die. Your body can die, but your spirit will live on, whether it'll go to heaven or hell, wherever God wills. Yeah.
No, we do believe that at the day 40, your life starts, and when you die, your spirit will go back to God, And we do believe also that God is responsible about the death. We cannot die before the God decided this. Okay, it's by decision of God. It's not in our choice. The example, for example, the car accidents and the overdose of drugs of that. So it is God who chose that. We do.
So there's no free will then. So there's no free will then. So there is no free will.
No, but you think you have free will, but always after free will, there's always God, because you cannot do something without the permission of God. We do believe in that in Islam. Yeah.
So if I rape a child, God is willing.
What?
It doesn't make sense.
If I rape a child, then God is simply willing. It's by His will. It's not my free will.
It's your free will.
No, we don't be like that, because we have a verse in the Quran. We said that the bad things are from humans. When you do a bad thing, is from you, not from God, because the spirit of God is something that do something only good thing.
No. But if I am a pathological rapist, then God has created my spirit. He's all knowing. He obviously already knew that I'm gonna on my 30th year I'm gonna rape some child. Then He knew that. So that is inherently a bad decision that God has made to begin with. So bad is coming from God as well.
No, Shaf, it is not like it's not by this way, It's hard to explain it, because let me just.
Of course, it's hard to explain because you have super.
Bro, can I help you? Can I help you?
Yeah. Okay, go on.
So basically, we had the soul, obviously, and we know that in the Quran it talks about when the soul was. We took a covenant with Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. Allah Subhanahu wa Taala asked us, "Am I not your Lord?" And our soul said, "Yes, you are our Lord." And then we were placed, in the human body. Allah
so I basically. So let me
finish. Let me finish. Harris, let me finish. Let me finish. You can come in, yeah. Then we were given free will. We were given free will at that point. So when we come into this earth, we have free will. So the choices that we make, we are responsible for those choices. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala facilitates that. So for example, we are in, how I look, where I live, the conditions that I'm in, that I have no choice about.
Or who I rape and murder.
Sorry?
Or who I rape and murder. So
no, I have a free choice. I have a free choice.
Yeah.
Who I rape. If I murder someone, if I kill someone, if I do good, that's my choice.
Yeah, but initially there was no choice. He said, okay, Harris, you have to go down to the earth. You have to be born. And you said that at the start.
No, we took a covenant. Allah SWT offered it to the mountains or to the other things. It was the humans. It was insan that took this choice. It says that in the Quran. That's what we believe.
Oh, so I took a choice. So
yes, your soul took a choice. Yes, your soul took a choice. That's what we believe.
Okay, well, I obviously have no recollection of that, and I haven't seen any document that I signed that said that. Okay,
no.
Yeah, so that okay, so it's just a claim. Basically, you can see that how it's just a claim that has been created around to support your theory that there is a spirit.
Yeah. Correct. It's based on faith. It's not an empirical claim. It's a faith-based claim.
And that's why I asked, why do you believe it then?
It's based on faith. But then the question goes is, why do we believe in God? Why do we believe in Islam? Why do we believe in the Prophet Muhammad? Then that's a different claim. So if we can show that we follow the logic. If we can show we reasonably believe in God, we've got justification believe in God. We got justification believe in the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Therefore, we believe in Islam. Then everything else follows from that. So what I've just said to you, that makes absolutely no sense. Yeah, go ahead.
I have no problem with that. That once you have established that initial faith, everything else becomes rational. I have no problem with that. My problem is with that initial faith that you're saying. That okay,
sure.
So this whole initial point that okay, my spirit was created, and I was asked. I don't know exactly what you said, so I'm just going to paraphrase you. That my spirit said, okay, I am happy to go. I accept Allah as the God and the creator of everything. And then I get the free will, and then I have to go in and believe whether God is. So the initial point that my spirit said, yes, I'm happy to exist. Again,
that's happy to exist. Faith-based, Harris. That's faith-based. That's
So your whole building is standing on a shaky foundation, which is based on faith, which sounds worse than a fairy tale from Tolkien's. Lord of the Rings.
You missed the point. You can be cheeky. You can try to be funny. It didn't quite work. What we're saying is it's based. It's based on, is your faith reasonable? Is it reasonable to believe in God? And we've got reasons to believe in God. We've got arguments for God's existence.
No,
then
you
don't.
No.
Okay, wait. Stop. Let me finish.
1,000 years.
Let me finish. Stop. Let me finish. Do we believe in the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Yes, we do. We believe he's the final prophet. Do we have reasons? Absolutely, we have reasons. Now, if you want to challenge us on those reasons, that's different. But you cannot. We say our faith is based on reason. It's reasonable to believe. Everything else, like Harris said, follows from that. But you guys start off.
Your initial faith.
Bjork wants to share a sentence from the Quran, which was half. What do you call it? Half used. Do you want to
half quoted. The Samir guy misquoted this verse. He said that good things are from God and bad things are from evil. It says that in the Quran, but it also contradicts itself, where it tells people, say all things are from Allah. And before that, it said death will overtake you, and it goes on, but if good comes to them, they say this is from Allah. So they're saying good is from Allah. And if evil befalls them, they say this is from you. Say all things are from Allah, good and the evil that befell them. So straight contradiction.
It's not really a contradiction. Allah SWT creates the circumstances for everything.
So
right?
Is it fair if he creates the circumstances?
He creates but we choose. So Allah SWT.
So how do you? Wait. How is it reasonable? Say that I'm born in a certain time, and I'm born with a universe that has certain laws. Then I'm born into a certain family, and I inherit these genes from my father and mother. Then he creates this scenario, and I have no other way to act. And
no, you do have a way to act. Of course, you have a way. God's given you an intellect. You missed that bit out.
Wait, can I get rid of the genes that compel me to be psychopathic, or
if you're psychopathic, you're not accountable for your actions, are you?
So I'm just living, suffering, and then
You know, you
Then I'm gonna
Majnun.
die, and God's gonna fix everything. Sure,
Yeah,
sure.
well, this is the thing. Your emotional arguments are only strong when if you don't believe in an afterlife, if you don't believe in a day of judgment, if you don't believe that there's life after this. It's very strong what you're saying, but we believe that there's.
My brother,
I
have
have another very interesting question on this. I'm just trying to understand. I'm just trying to understand your thought process here, Saracen. So you're basically saying, okay, so if I'm a pathological liar or a murderer, or I have a tendency to rape men or women, whatever is in my gene. So does my spirit work on the same principle? Is my spirit genetic as well? So do you understand my question?
No, clarify, please.
Okay, so like if I like to lie, I like to steal things, etc. But you're saying my spirit and I are two separate entities. However, my spirit will still be responsible for my actions in this world, and my spirit is actually the one that is going to pay the price in the afterlife. And since spirit is eternal, so is spirit genetic as well? Is it driven by genes as well? We know our bodies
The spirit or the soul is inside our body. Now, within our body, we also, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us an intellect. Within the intellect, it gives us the ability to make choices, right or wrong. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala creates conditions within ourselves, outside, what we have no control over, but we make those choices.
So
the
my soul is
internally, our soul tells us. So when we
I got
believe
your
in fitrah. So, when we say that, there's a little voice inside us that we know that something is wrong, killing children, doing whatever,
No, but
that's our soul telling
not
us.
the question.
It's not the case for everyone.
Perhaps
So is my soul colluding with my brain? If my brain desires...
if you develop your soul, absolutely, your soul. If you develop your soul, you develop that, what we call the inna basira. You have a light within you. You have certain things that you will see reality for what it is. Absolutely, you'll see things in your intellect.
No, but you're saying my soul is a separate entity.
Soul is within your body. Yes.
Yeah, it's within my body, but as a separate entity. So it could be a bacteria as well. So it's a separate entity. So when I die, my soul lives on. So it's
your soul knows
entity.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Your soul knows Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Everyone's souls know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Brother.
So why is my soul?
Let me tell you why I believe. Let me tell you why I believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yeah. I believe, obviously, because and you're right, I do believe, because I think that there were some great arguments for God. And there's several. There's ontological, cosmological, fitrah. There's the moral argument. We can go into all further.
We've done all those.
You've done them one-sided. No, they haven't been destroyed. They haven't been destroyed. They haven't been destroyed. In fact, atheists have been destroyed by William.
Yeah, on the Gin and Tonic show. Come on.
You haven't. I haven't debated you on them. I haven't. I've
Saracen, all I would say.
Anyway. Let's go.
All I would say to that, is look, mate. Those arguments can be used for your religion as well as any other religion.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
In fact, they're useless.
No, they're not.
Sorry,
they're not.
Sorry, just one question, please. One question. For the men who are talking about arguments, excuse me for the question, but it is maybe a stupid question, but it has sense. Okay, do you have an argument that your father is your father, or just do you believe that is your father?
This is what Harris Sultan was talking about last week. What they do is they come in saying they have evidence, and then they come up with solipsism. They ask you, how do you know your father is your father? How do you know this?
Sorry,
what if the universe never existed?
I'm not doing that.
I'm not doing that. Why he is asking
Guys, one at a time, please. We can't talk over
We've spoken about this. I know my father is my father because I'm used to seeing people father kids. We can demonstrate this, but you cannot demonstrate that God is Allah or he created anything because you have no evidence.
Yeah, that's true, Samir. That's a very bad argument. You can make arguments, and that's all good, but don't use the father argument. That's a very, very terrible argument. That
I actually agree with. I agree with the atheist on this one, my friend.
Yeah, don't go there. Don't go with science. Those two things. Let's discuss something. There are other things one can discuss.
So what
science
I'm saying
and the whole.
So could I finish
your father thing is just very, very low level. Let's step it up higher than that. Okay, somebody wanted to ask something there.
So Rob, could I finish what I was saying to answer? So I was saying, I believe in those arguments, right? And obviously, I'm reading more around them, developing them, but I think they're very sound arguments. They've been sound arguments for years. There's obviously critiques within that. Fine, I accept that. That makes good discussion. Then the second reason, obviously, I believe in the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. That's my main reason. You know, that's one of my strongest reasons. I believe he was the Prophet. And the third reason is I believe in spirituality. I believe in metaphysics. I believe that the first two ways you can believe or you cannot believe, fine. But I think once you have the soul that opens up and you see the reality for it, what it is, and you go through metaphysical experiences, and we can discuss that.
God is metaphysical.
Right, but we were talking about the soul. We're talking about, this is the realm of ihsan. So we have Islam, Iman, and ihsan. Ihsan is for those people who have developed their souls, and you see certain things, and that is what ultimately can give you certainty.
This is
Harris, just hang on one sec for me. Titans did ask, so I want to just bring Kalam in at this point. Kalam, you were going to bring something in there, hopefully with regards to what we're chatting about. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was falling asleep slightly, so I was simply saying that, you know, Saracen and the rest of the Muslims, don't worry, man. Remember, I'm on your team today, so please tag me in when any difficult questions arise, okay?
Okay, don't fall asleep then, otherwise you're going to miss it.
Oh, man.
Okay, Sarah, Harris, over to you. You were going to say something. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Harris, just before you, my apologies. I did say Bjork wanted to put a sentence in there. What was it that you wanted to add, Bjork?
What I want to say to Saracen is that he did not. I'm assuming kind of like Muslims don't come to Allah by using the ontological argument or cosmological. They believe. They don't sit down and philosophize that this must be this or this must be that. Therefore, Allah. They believe. That's all there is.
Yeah, I agree with you. Most people are just born Muslim, bro. That's the reality. They don't really think about it and stuff. For me, I actually went through a crisis of faith, and I actually went and studied, and you know there was many questions that I had, and I went back to the drawing board. But ultimately, if you bring and push me, it was Sufism and that kind of spirituality that I found that gave me real certainty. The other ones just reconfirmed it for me.
And the interesting thing is Muhammad had no freaking idea what cosmological argument was. I mean, it's not explained anywhere in Quran from that perspective. It just makes bold claims that God is eternal, he's always been around, and then he created the universe. It just doesn't make any sense. I mean, I just cannot understand how anyone can wrap their head around. You can doubt, you can turn a blind eye towards evolution all you want. But one thing is for crystal clear that we know that the universe is 14 billion years old, or 13.8 or whatever that is. And throughout this time, God is just waiting for Muhammad or Jesus or Moses to show up after 14 billion years. I mean, what kind of a shortcut that is for an eventual goal of humanity? I mean, how do you
who said that? You straw man. Not all Muslims believe that Jesus is going to turn up at the end of time.
No. I'm not saying that Jesus did turn up. I'm talking about 2,000 years ago when he did turn up.
Right.
I'm simply asking you that what was God doing this whole time? I mean, there were dinosaurs, T-Rex tearing each other apart, and all these things happening.
You're talking about linear time. You're talking about linear time.
Yeah. Of course, I'm talking about linear time.
Yeah. So you think God's time and linear time are the same thing?
Well, yeah, of course. Time is time.
So you haven't understood reality.
Don't you see, Harris? You cannot imagine. It's inconceivable. Like time, we have different time zones.
This is what we don't understand. I mean, whenever you guys, you're so desperate to prove your faith correct that you draw these circles and you make all these other things, you invent them out of thin air that have absolutely zero shred of evidence. I mean, this is what's so confusing, frustrating, and mind-boggling. Then we still live in a day and age. But thankfully, there are a lot of people leaving these fairy tales behind.
Sure. People may not understand, and then like are minimal Muslims in the first place.
How are we going to understand when you make a claim that my soul was created on the 40th day, and then I gave a testimony to Allah that I accept you, Allah, now send me, put me in this womb. I mean, how are we meant to understand this?
So is that you have to first understand God. You have to believe who the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was. If you have that, then you can move on to everything else. I mean, everything else follows, right?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, if I believe elves and there's a Middle Earth, then yeah, sure, I can believe that Aragon existed and there was a powerful ring, and of course everything else becomes rational. But the first point is, where did that all start? And now where you start, I mean, these are massive assumptions that you assert, and they have absolutely no evidence. It just seems like you're begging the question. Just to defend your faith, you just have created all these stories, and then we have to go by it. I mean, it just
Harris, you said your family was Sufi, right? I watched one of your videos recently, right? You said your family was Sufi. Did you ever get into Sufism?
We're not Sufi. We're basically just mainstream Sunnis. I mean, the Pakistani culture is mainly influenced by Sufism. Yeah, so I mean, I never got into any sect. My father was his family was more like Wahhabis, but even they don't believe in hadiths now. So I mean, it becomes extremely difficult for Muslims to defend hadiths. I mean, it's one thing to defend Quran.
I agree.
But and so yeah. So I mean, I kind of looked at the Quran itself, and that's where I drew the line. I mean, the rest of the people go into details about the lives of the Sahabas and what happened afterwards and what's in the hadith. Yeah, sure, hadiths are easy to knock down Islam, and to look at the life of Muhammad itself. But if you look at Quran itself, I mean, that's Quran alone.
I would say you don't understand it. That's the problem. And I watched your show, and I watched a few of your videos.
Come on, Saracen. Come on, you talk about soul. You talk about all sorts of bullshit. You talk about all sorts of things.
I'm not going to understand.
The facts. Then you.
Of course, I'm not going to understand.
On the Quran, as soon as it gets the facts, you go.
That's why you guys aren't open-minded to it. You guys aren't open-minded to it. Free your minds a little bit. Open your mind. Stop having such rigid positions. You know, consider that there might be something.
Do you think we've ever been somewhere else?
Go on, bro.
At it?
Well, let Stops finish there.
Did you think that we've always been? Do you think I was born thinking, oh, there's something wrong with the Quran? No, I learned it.
If you
10 years ago, I didn't even know how to spell Quran. And now I'm telling you, Saracen,
I would actually think, yeah, maybe.
Bring me one thing, just one thing from the Quran that is verifiably correct.
I've already done it, mate. I've done it in a previous show.
Yeah, you've never done it.
I did, and you started struggling.
Sorry, I will give you one verse. Sorry, one verse in Arabic language in the Quran. Okay. وجعلنا من الماء كل شيء حي. We have made from water. How can you explain that the Quran?
No, bullshit. That has been said by Thales of Miletus hundreds of years before.
What was he? Sorry, what was he saying? I missed it.
Greek history, man.
Let me continue. Sorry, please continue.
No,
please.
Bjork, what did he say?
Please.
He said that everything was created from water, and that has been.
Bro, don't do that one, please.
Miletus knew that.
No, I agree with you.
And that has been proven wrong. And it's wrong.
Yeah, sorry, let me continue, please. No, it is not like about the information. It's about the detail and the information. In the Quran, it is written.
Samir, don't do the science things, please, bro. Don't do that, please.
Let me continue. Just sorry. I'm just giving you one verse from the Quran talking about scientific fact. Today.
You did warn him, Saracen.
Akhi. Trust me, this is not the right platform. No, listen. Don't embarrass him. I know you guys are gonna have a laugh with him after.
Go do it. And we made everything out of order.
Bro, I'm gonna let you do it if you want, but this is probably the worst place to do this, bro. And I've told you, these are the guys you don't want to do it with, man. Seriously.
No, sorry,
anyway,
no, sorry.
Bro, there's
let him go. He's confident, Saracen. Let him go.
No. Listen, I have to. He's my Muslim brother.
Please.
I know he is, but sometimes people have to learn.
Bro, you
just
Astaghfirullah, bro. Listen, I was just the one. I'm gonna keep quiet, bro. They're gonna shoot you down. But listen, all this science stuff in the Quran, bro, leave it. I'm just telling you. Anyway,
okay, no.
Okay, Saracen, can I ask you a question, please?
Just 1 minute, please. 1 minute.
All right, man. Go ahead.
Please, okay. No, because we're talking about this. Yeah, because we are talking about the, I call it scientific
miracles.
Insights in the Quran, okay? Because in the Quran there is some, if you read the Quran and understand the Quran, because my brother was talking with you and he said that you don't understand the Quran, and I do agree with him. It's not about reading the Quran, it's about understanding the Quran. And to understand the Quran, you have to have a certain good level in Arabic language, especially in Arabic language, because you are talking about that it is hard to translate Quran from Arabic language to another language and to understand it deeply. Why? Because in Arabic language there is some specifics in the Arabic language that you cannot translate to another language. And about language, from if we want to talk about language, there is, you can understand by language, you can feel.
Samir, you're waffling. You're waffling.
No, sorry. Let me continue, please. You, for example, you speak English as your mother tongue. You can feel the English language more than me because it is not my first language. But me, I can feel Arabic.
Where are you going with this?
Can we go to the science, please?
So let me continue. So language is not about just understanding. It's about understanding and about feeling. So you cannot translate the feeling of the language to another language. And that's why there are some scholars inside the Muslim world who are saying that when you translate the Quran, you will steal some meanings from the Quran to when you translate to another language. Because
okay, and what? And come on.
Science.
They're hungry for you. They're hungry for you, bro. They're licking their lips. It's like life waiting.
Just please, I have to say something important. Let me give you a small example about the language, okay? And about, the...
No, we don't want to know about language, please. You think it's important, we don't.
Yeah, please, just the thing.
Samir, hang on, Samir.
Yeah.
Samir, don't do it, bro. Don't do it.
You did say that you wanted to bring something from the Quran. So let's bypass the language bit and get to the bit on the Quran. Your brother has warned you that this may be not the way to go, but you feel...
Yes, one thing. Okay, so I just
want to forward if you can, please.
Okay, I will give you something that is scientifically proven. I don't know if you heard about it. About the
there is no such thing that is scientifically proven.
Let him do it. Let him do it.
Let me continue. Let's talk about Pharaoh. The body of Pharaoh,
Oh, no, come on. Yes, I knew this was going to be some bullshit story. Come on.
Let me continue. No, sorry.
Let him say it. No, come on.
Yes, he was preserved in his body. There was inside. Yeah, okay.
It's a first-time
visitor.
Something unique. Guys, he's a first-time visitor. Let him have a go. Come on. We've heard it, but let him have a go.
Yeah, please. Because I do speak French language. Please, listen to me. The man who made his research... Sorry.
Ça ne dit rien. Et quoi?
Mais laissez-moi terminer, mon frère. Je vais vous expliquer très bien, mon frère, si vous voulez.
Alors, vas-y alors.
Oui, you two.
Okay.
Keep to English, please.
Okay, let me continue this. Please, let me continue this idea. Yes. Sorry. The French doctor who made the research about the body of Pharaoh.
Yes, Maurice Piquet. We know about it.
No, don't do Maurice Piquet. Please. Wallahi, bro, please don't do Maurice Piquet. I beg you.
No,
please don't do Maurice
Piquet. Let me continue.
Please. I'm telling you, this is embarrassing. Wallahi, this is embarrassing.
No, it is not embarrassing. Sorry,
bro,
please. Because
he's a paid.
Please, my brother, please. Let me just 1 minute. After that, we can talk whatever we want to talk. Please. Okay? Maurice Bucaille made write a book about this topic. His name is the Bible, the Quran and Science, okay? And he give evidences that he studied Quran, he learned the Arabic language, after that he studied Quran, and he made the research on the body of Pharaoh. He said that the only text in the world who talk about the way that the body of Pharaoh is, I don't know, is the Gharaqa.
Preserved.
No, it's preserved underwater. Is the Quran? The Quran said that Pharaoh.
This is wrong.
Let me continue.
Let Harris deal with it afterwards because you've done it many times. And Harris is a visitor.
This is a scientific book from a French doctor. It is not a Muslim.
Not scientific.
Okay, please. He read this book and he said that I studied the Quran. Everything that has some signs, some insights about the scientific facts, they are all true. About 20%. 80% are true, and they still only 20% about the scientific insight inside the Quran that they are not tested and proven scientifically. Okay, it is the word of Maurice Bucaille, a French doctor. It is not my words. Okay, so please, if you want to understand more and learn more about the scientific insights of the Quran, you can go to the book of Maurice Bucaille. Another book, Michael Hart.
Okay, wait.
What about Keith Moore? No, let him talk about Keith Moore, brother. Do you want to talk about?
He's made one claim already.
No, Michael Hart is great.
Okay, you want him to do that one?
Michael Hart is actually all right, but Keith Moore, brother, do you want to talk about Keith Moore as well?
No, Bouquet is great. Maurice, please. Maurice.
Right, I told you not to do it. I told you not to do it. I'm gonna let them. Do you want me to deal with this, Stops, or do you want to deal with it?
I think you've heard me so
Let
Let Harris deal with it.
Yeah, let's bring Harris in. Go ahead, Harris.
I'll keep it very short, but I would actually like Saracen's view on that, and I would like him to answer it in more in depth. First of all, Maurice Bucaille was just an ordinary doctor. He was a member of the Egyptologist Society of France, I think. So he's no authority on the mummies. His statement basically simply said, well, the discovery of the salts indicated that he drowned. These are the salts that are found in every fucking mummy, because these are the salts that they use to mummify a body. So there is nothing special in that. Quran only tells you that the Pharaoh drowned. That's all it said.
No.
Maurice Bucaille, another one. Sorry, go on.
No, there is one additional item. He was preserved in his body.
Yeah, he was preserved in his body, so the rest of the world can see him as, you know, how evil we are.
Which is from the Jewish Apocrypha.
Yeah. Which is, there are fucking hundreds of mummies. So what, they're all preserved in the body by Allah?
No, they were not. That's the point. Sorry, Harris. No, they're not, because they're empty.
No, but the question know that. This is the question. From where did the Quran know that? This is the only text.
Quran didn't know anything.
Yeah,
but the mummification process was known to ancient Greeks as well.
No.
Mummification process is known to everyone.
Sorry, please. Pharaoh died before. Died in the presence of Moses, for example, in time of Moses.
Yeah.
Sorry, let me continue. Why the Torah didn't talk about it? Why Jesus didn't talk about it?
This is Jewish text. You don't know the history.
Sorry. Let me continue.
Don't go that deep, man. Let's just talk about Maurice Bucaille. Just go tell him about Maurice Bucaille, Harris. Just tell him, and then tell him, and I'll confirm it as a Muslim. So just stop this, because it's good.
Maurice Bucaille was a French physician and a member of the French Egyptology Society. That's it. He's no authority on mummies. He's not anyone else. He was also a doctor of Saudi royal family. And also, I think he was the doctor of the Egyptian. What's his name? Was it Nadir? Was he the doctor of Nadir as well for some time, or not? Anyway, so he's no authority on mummification. Or he was no Egyptologist. So he had absolutely no authority on this. And whatever he wrote about this Pharaoh that you talk about is nothing special in that. Now to answer your question, how did Muhammad, or how did Quran know? Well, Quran came after Greeks and the Romans and all the other civilization who already knew about the mummification process. So there's nothing. Quran doesn't even mention mummification process. It's actually very silly to say, well, we preserved it in the body and he drowned. The drowning story comes from the Jewish text, and we preserved it in the body, and the body was not discovered in the 20th century. The body was discovered then and there. Like the Egyptians pulled the body out, or however he died. Now this Pharaoh was 92 years old. He had arthritis. He couldn't even walk, let alone standing on a chariot. And standing on a chariot is a very difficult process. So this whole story of this Ramses II drowning is all bullshit. There is no confirmation that he ever drowned as well. And the discovery of the salts in his body, that says nothing. That every mummy has those salts in them.
Can I go one deeper?
A question for you. Just one question. From where did the Quran know that the body of Pharaoh?
That's what I just want to. This comes from the book of Yasha, chapter 81, please, from the Jews.
Let me continue. This is not my question. My question is the next one, please. From where did the Quran know that the body of Pharaoh still exists to 1889, where it has been discovered?
Okay, does the Quran say 1889?
No, because the Maurice Bucaille, the body of Pharaoh has been discovered in 1889.
Okay, so where does the Quran mention 1889?
Okay,
hang on.
Sorry. From where did the Quran that the body of Pharaoh will still exist to that date?
That's what I'm trying to explain to you. This is from the book of Yasha. This is from the Apocrypha. These are Jewish texts.
Sorry, because the thing that I wrote, the thing that I read about Morris Bukai, he said that the only text in the world that talk about the throne of Pharaoh is the Quran.
Bukai is a liar. Bukai is a liar.
No. Another question for you, my brother. Another question for you.
No, wait. Did you hear what I said? Did you hear what I said?
Please, one
stop.
question.
Just one question. He wasn't even lying.
He is a liar. He went and did, for example, Haman, and he mentioned a book that doesn't exist. He mentioned a museum that doesn't exist. I have done all the research on this. Bukai is a liar. If you believe anything that Bukai says or writes or anything, it is at your own peril.
He's not a complete liar, though, Stops.
So
he's not. He does half truths. He does half truths.
I would go with him. He goes by half truths, and that is the problem. When you want to fool masses of people, you have to tell half truths.
That's what
that's how it always works.
They had pharaohs. That's the only half truth. Yeah, but the rest
of
them lie.
Yeah, but that's a good point.
Does anyone from scientists or physicians that refuted the evidences of Morris Bukai in his book?
Yes.
Okay, give me some books, my brother.
Stops. Have you still got your video? Rather than go over it again.
Hundreds of videos which all show this.
We are talking about books, my brother, not about videos.
Okay.
No, videos quote books, man. Videos.
Bro, let me stop this. My brother. Listen. Let me tell you from my experience, bro. Let me tell you.
Let's get serious.
When I came on the Gin and Tonic show first, this a few years ago, yeah, I used to quote this same bullshit. I'll be honest with you, right? And this is why, if I disagree with someone, I'll research their points. So even with Stops, I came on and, me and him, I think he talks a lot of shit a lot of time, but at the same time, he's not completely an idiot. He's quite researched on quite a lot of things. So I watched his videos and I found them very convincing. Okay, the problem is we have Islamism that dresses up as Islam, that goes around telling Muslims, oh yeah, look, we've got everything, the answer for everything. Islam is the solution. It's the perfect way of life. Everyone else doesn't, Islam is superior, blah, 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 blah. Morris Bukai was bought by the Wahhabis, Saudis, to promote their agenda, to show how Islam and science, it was in the 70s, Islam and science is perfect. Then we had the Ahmed Didat era, followed by Zakir Naik. Bro, wallahi azim, this is embarrassing. Because when you read some of the stuff that we come out with and we say, oh, Professor Keith Moore said this and Morris, who are these guys? What is their authorities? Do you know what I mean? But we big them up because they're the only kind of, let's be honest, they're the white kind of guys that become Muslim or they support Muslims, and we use them to quote them. Well, why don't we use other scientists that have disagreed with them? Why don't we use any of the other things? They were on the payroll, and some of them even changed their opinions later on. What I would say to you, my brother, sincerely, is watch Stops' videos. Obviously he'll talk a lot of nonsense in some of the other videos, but just on this one, watch this and watch the ones about the 1001 inventions. Those are very good, because I came on that and I came on the show on Gin and Tonic. I'll just tell you, and I said to Stops, yeah, Muslims invented this, and he goes, okay, name me one. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll name you. And then I had to go and do my research, and I found out that the reality is the things that we claim that we invented, a lot of times we didn't. That's not to say that we didn't participate in developing things, but to go around and say that we developed everything in the world has ever known is wrong, and it's disingenuous. And then when people find facts, it makes us look stupid, bro.
And I quickly want to add another thing in defense of Muslims. I mean, I think a lot of Muslims have done good bits in sciences, but that still doesn't mean anything that Quran led them to those things. The only Nobel Prize physicist, Dr. Abdus Salam, who was a co-Nobel Prize winner with Weinberg, I think, or Feynman, I think.
He was a Qadiani, so
no Muslim, bro, not Muslim. What are you talking about?
No, he was a Muslim.
I'm joking. I'm playing. I'm trolling.
He believed in Quran, and he also said that, well, I got my science from Quran when he won the Nobel Prize. I mean, in one of his, I don't know if he was trying to win the Muslim audience because he was a Qadiani. Maybe that's why he was doing. But again, Ibn al-Haytham was another one, like did great work in optics. But that doesn't mean you can claim some discoveries to Muslims, but there are, if you want to go that way, then Jews have discovered a lot more things. So it's nothing to do with Quran. Now you talk specifically about Quran. Show me a verse that was groundbreaking at that point. I mean, all the Big Bang verses and the Quran, secret of mummification you just quoted, and all the other ones. All of them were either known. The mummies were known. Egyptians had known that Greeks and Romans knew that Egyptians have this practice where they preserve the bodies. So Quran, even if Quran categorically said that while Ramses is preserved, that is not something groundbreaking because people already knew about that. So there's nothing in Quran that is groundbreaking, brand new information that no one else knew. So that's why a lot of Muslims drop the idea of using science in Quran. I mean, you should stick to this spiritual stuff that that no one can verify, that we can't, that cannot be falsifiable. Just stick to that.
It can be falsifiable. Join the path, bro. I'm inviting you back to Islam. I'll teach you, and hopefully, inshallah, you'll discover for yourself.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. Well, at least you got a kind of a backhand comment. There's a compliment stops from Saracen. Even though you talk nonsense, occasionally you do talk things. But I want to.
That's why I said he's back on my Christmas card list.
That's as good as he's gonna get.
But I want to invite. I want to invite Titans in. I think Titans has just woken up, so you might want to add something. Go for it, Kalam.
The moment I hear anything about Kemet or Egypt, and pharaohs, I wake up, so the brother was sorry, this is one of my specialities right here. You can't be dropping those things there. Brother made mention, would you believe that Ramesses II was drowned or something like that? Was that the claim?
That's the claim. That's apparent.
Yeah, Ramses II he did not drown.
Yes, Ramesses II definitely did not drown, number one. I think, Muslims claim that he was found in the Red Sea or something silly like that. And I'm like,
very silly.
Really?
Found in the Valley of the Kings. Come on.
He was found in the Valley of the Kings in 1889.
Let's let Kalam finish.
Kalam, there's another thing. Because Bjork said, no, it can't be Ramses. It must be Merentha.
Merentha. Okay, that's even later on as well. Now, when we go to the when we go to the datings of supposed Moses, you have various different calculations from the Jews, the rabbinical calculations, stating he lived during the time span of 1391 to 1271 BCE. Jerome says 1592. They're quite very, very early dates compared to the later date of Ramesses. Ramesses is literally like almost 200 years later. So it's like, or even 300 to 400 years later. And it's kind of baffling. How do you date when Moses actually lived? Like, how do you date that? What records do you have to say, yes, Moses lived during this time? He is actually recorded in ancient Egypt. There is no dates that you can actually, get anywhere to say that Moses actually was a physical, human being that lived and, done an exodus in Egypt. Even the Jews have to actually concede and say, no, that's false. And again, let me just continue a little bit more. The Quran doesn't actually say that, this individual, the Pharaoh, was actually drowned. It says that he was preserved in body for him to be a sign for later generations, meaning that everybody else was drowned, but he was preserved in body. He never actually drowned, which corresponds exactly what to Brother Stops was saying with the Jewish, if you go into the Midrash and other books, you'll find that God actually saved Pharaoh from drowning. So this is nothing new. This is just, Midrash text that's just being resurfaced inside of the Quran.
Yeah, the Chronicles of Nineveh.
Yeah, but with the preservation, I think this is where the confusion starts, and I think I might be guilty of that too. That when Ramses II or whichever pharaoh it was with his armies chasing Moses into the Red Sea, the armies drowned, and so did, obviously, you would assume logically that everyone else drowned, but allow God saved the Ramses, so the rest of the people could see.
Save the Pharaoh. This is a mythological story. It's not actually historical. So let's just
of
say.
Course. Yeah, of course. So that's where Muslims kind of use that. Okay, well, he was preserved by the miracle of God because God had a lesson in there as well for the rest of the people to come, and that's where they get confused. And the biggest mistake that people make, I think, I'm not sure if Samir is still on the line or not, and he was talking about that discovery, and every Muslim that I speak to, they think that this Ramses II was actually discovered from the sea.
I don't, and I'm a Muslim.
No, I know you don't. I think I've established you're quite educated on these matters. But a lot of like layperson Muslims, when they buy into this idea of, and it's a perfectly rational idea to believe if Quran is the book by a genius being like Allah, then it has to have, if it doesn't give any outright scientific information, then it should not have at least any scientific problem. So people assume that, there must be some sort of divine knowledge in there that is limited to humans, and humans would not have that, and we might have some tools in the 21st century to verify some of them. So that's where they go in and they claim, and they think that, this must have happened, and the body was discovered, and as the brother Samir was talking, that how would Quran have known all of that? And they confuse that it wasn't pulled out from the Valley of the Kings in 1889. They think that it was pulled out from the sea, and they don't go into detail when people like Zakir Naik and Ahmad Didat and Harun Yahya, who recently got arrested, when they say, there is science in Quran. So they don't go into details. They just go, embryology is mentioned in Quran. Whoa, that's it. Let's go with that. And same with salt and fresh water and all the other things. So they don't go into detail, and when I first looked into it, I also thought, I remember watching a documentary which was made by Pakistani propaganda, Islamic propaganda, the YouTube channel or something, and they said, we discovered, the scientists discovered the body of the Pharaoh. And I thought, so they pulled him out from the Red Sea now. That's amazing. And I also believed that. And I didn't bother doing any research. Obviously, much later on, I did that.
Okay. It is getting on here. We've been going for about 4 hours and 46 minutes at this moment in time. So I'm just thinking.
It's a good show, Rob.
What we can do is go to an after show. Thank you to all the viewers. Thank you to all of you in the chat as well. We'll be back at 8 p.m. next Friday. If Saracen and Samir and anybody else like to join us, that's the time to do so. With that, and to thank all the panelists in the show, we will carry on with an after show here, and we'll be back next Friday. So thank you to everybody. Good night from the main show, and we'll be going into an after show now.